It is Liverpool taking on league leaders Arsenal, who've had 7 straight Premier League wins since losing to Manchester City. Liverpool out of form, but it is at Anfield where they do have a very strong home record. Even with that home record, Arsenal come into this one as favourites. Let's now welcome in Aage Fjortoft and Nicky Bandini to talk about this as well. But I will start with you, Stevie Nicol. You are going with the bookies. You have Arsenal as favourites to win this one too. Yes, and there's a really big, strong reason for that. Because I can't see how Liverpool can win this game. I don't see how we keep them out. I mean, I just can't see Liverpool taking care of Arsenal in the middle of the park in particular, and what they do in the final third from an attacking sense, from both the wide areas and through the middle. I can't. Who would go for Liverpool in this game? Seriously, we're talking about one thing only. One thing only that's in Liverpool's favour. The game's at Anfield, but that is not going to be enough. Not with this set. It's pretty massive though, because they are at Anfield, where they've been a lot stronger, and Arsenal haven't done well at Anfield either.
So you're going for Arsenal? Are you going for Liverpool? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Here's the thing, right?
I mean, look at this. Shaka, you're going for Arsenal. I'm not put off by the record there.
I'm going for an Arsenal win. And here's the thing. Other than the Manchester United result, if that Liverpool team shows up, that Liverpool could beat anybody. The trouble is, that's the only time this season we've seen that version of Liverpool that can go at teams and kill them off and play the kind of swashbuckling football that we've seen from them over the last couple of seasons. So balance it, 26 games where that version of Liverpool has no chance against Arsenal, or the one where we've seen it against Manchester United. I go with the majority in that Liverpool just have not been good enough all season long. One exception alone to beat this version of Arsenal. At the same time, you could probably say the exact opposite about Arsenal. Everything about Arsenal has been absolutely fantastic. They've had a couple of blips, but even when they have, they've just found ways to bounce back. Nothing really suggests that Arsenal don't get it done. Do you know one really strong thing as well? You've got an Arsenal team that can't wait to drive up to Anfield. When have we ever said that? If you're Arsenal, I bet you right now Arsenal players are thinking, you know what? I'm sick of listening to people telling us we never win at Anfield. I can't wait to go there and beat them and be the party. They can't wait. They can't wait to go. I'm telling you, they can't wait to get there.
Nicky, you say a draw, but is that the pessimistic Arsenal fan in you?
That might be a little bit. I mean, look, I'm right now. I'm back in my dad's old hometown, and the Italian word is scaramanzia. The sort of superstitious, not wanting to jinx your own team is definitely a thing that runs in Italian blood, I think. But look, there's also something in the fact it's just been up on screen, the recent results for Arsenal at Anfield. I haven't seen Arsenal win a game at Anfield since 2012. I mean, I think Diaby was in midfield that day. That's how long ago we're talking about. It's a long time since they've gone to the stadium and won. And it's not like, even in this weird season for Liverpool, that they haven't been really strong at home. I think only Man City have a better home goal difference than Liverpool. They have been strong there. Yes, you look at the games over the last month and you think that midfield is such a mess. You look at Arsenal's attack and you think, gosh, genuinely, you're struggling to settle on who should actually start between Saka, Martinelli, Jesus and Trossard, because Trossard has been so good as a January signing. On paper, I can totally understand why some people look at this and think it's in the bag, but then look at what actually happens on the pitch, because it has been a really, really long time since Arsenal have gone to Anfield and looked good.
Now, Jan, we know that Mikel Arteta is concerned about the atmosphere at Anfield, as we saw in the documentary. When he was playing, you'll never walk alone in the dressing room to get prepared. Is that why you're going for a Liverpool win in this game?
Well, first of all, Kay, I thought you would say that Arteta was worried because of my tip, saying that Liverpool will win this game. But when I saw that 7-0 against Manchester United, I was thinking for the Liverpool fans, it was better to win 7 games 1-0, because sometimes you would get those kind of games. It was a funny game with Manchester United. It was okay. They were okay in the first half, and yes, I've been very impressed the way that Arsenal sticked into the bubble. Or everybody thought after Manchester City, that's it. And then they had the Aston Villa game. They had a fantastic game at Fulham and so on and so on. But still, I can guarantee you straight away, it's Easter. I'm reading a lot of history of football. There will be another twist in this title battle. And that twist will be that Arsenal will lose at Liverpool. I'm not saying that Arsenal won't win the league. I'm just saying they will lose at Anfield. You will see that. All historical, everything shows me that Arsenal will lose this game. So Liverpool, be prepared for another home win against Arsenal. The stats shows that that will happen. The form not, but the title twist. All Hollywood films, there is one twist in that film when everything goes the other way. Yeah, this is now. This is now.
This is when it starts. So Klopp made 6 changes against Chelsea, maybe in reaction to their defeat to City, but also maybe resting players for this game. Now, Craig said that he thought Klopp wants to make sure that he isn't embarrassed against Arsenal. Would 3-1 to Arsenal be an embarrassment to Liverpool and Klopp at home?
No, I don't actually think it's the scoreline that is going to be the problem. It's the manner in which it happens is always the worst thing about it. And I mean, this Liverpool side, I actually hope he doesn't play Jones in the middle of the park. I hope he plays Trent Alexander-Arnold in the middle of the park on the right-hand side, because that would make far more sense. Because he doesn't really have many options, Klopp. He's certainly never given us any sniff that he's ever going to change from 4-3-3, so I don't expect him to do it now. So why don't you play Trent Alexander on the right-hand side? Play him where he's best, and that is from the halfway line forward. We know he can't defend, so he doesn't really have to defend, per se, in the middle of the park, in my opinion. All he has to do is shepherd players around, close the ball down without letting people run past him. So I think he would be safe in there. And the fact is, it's not really much of a gamble, because Liverpool in the middle of the park, regardless of who's had the jersey on, have been getting walked over anyway. So does it really make any difference? Take advantage of the fact that this kid can play and can't defend. So play him in the middle of the park.
But he doesn't want this, Nicky. No, he doesn't want this, Stevie. I mean, there's a lot of pundits who said this now for a couple of 3 years. And I think for every time a guy like you, a former Liverpool player, a profile in the game says that, Klopp will think, no, I won't do it. Because that makes sense. The math is correct. Arnold should never be behind the halfway line because he can't defend. I mean, that is a fact that he can't defend. And we've seen that, and we've seen also other players have a problem at the back. But Klopp doesn't want to do it. He would have done it long ago, Stevie, if he felt that was the right thing to do.
Well, I think previously, Jan, he's had options, or options that he thought would be better. You know, people like Keita, for example, who's been an absolute wash. But up until probably this year, where I think it's just one of them, this guy's not good enough. So he's always had other options rather than play Trent in the middle of the park. I don't see him having any other option. Yes, you can play Jones because, he likes to play there, or, he's an up-and-coming player. But the fact is that Jones isn't good enough right now either. So why don't you play him? You can't lose anything. What is Liverpool going to lose? I don't see a downside.
What do you think of it, Nicky, playing Trent Alexander-Arnold further up the field?
Look, I think if you're Liverpool in this game, absolutely you have to take the approach of going for broke, because if there is any vulnerability in this Arsenal team, it is defensively. I mean, they've kept, even in this winning run they're on at the moment, they've only kept 2 clean sheets. They're a team that, despite everything they have going for them, they have some vulnerability. So I think any way you've got to try and get at them, and try and get at them ideally early in the game, and try to set a narrative of, this is Anfield, it's loud, we've got the ability to get on top of you, you take it, and Alexander-Arnold can certainly give you that. So I would support, from a Liverpool standpoint, I would think they should do whatever they can to try and seize the initiative early in this game, because if they lose the initiative to this team that we're seeing on screen, look, on paper, I just think this team right now jumps out as the stronger team. So take your chance, take your swings, I think, is the way you've got to do it.
Shaka, if Arsenal lose this game, will they lose the title race?
I don't think so. Well, it's not going to hinge on this game. It's going to hinge on how they pick themselves up. And kind of deny City's pressure. The one thing we know is City knows run-ins as good as anybody in the game today. Arsenal, you can't say as much about. Can this young Arsenal team, as good as they've been, withstand pressure at this stage of the season? That is the big question mark around Arsenal. All other things being even, I think Arsenal should win it. What's encouraging, as I mentioned, is how Arsenal have been able to bounce back from their setbacks. Whether it was Manchester United or Manchester City, they've always bounced back and bounced back well. Bouncing back at this stage of the season takes a little bit more, but I still think that this Arsenal side has it in their tank.
So just to go back to it then, Jan, this is where you think there's going to be a big story here at Anfield. What are your thoughts, though, for Arsenal psychologically if they do lose this game here?
Well, they will come to the court and prove that they have done it before to come back, as Shaka is saying. But we have to be quite factual of the thing that is for Arsenal now to lose the Premiership. Arsenal got 8 points lead now, and we are now in April. So for them, it is now to lose the title. If that creeps into the players, if Arteta can't hold that back, well, then they will have a problem, because everybody talking about this culture of Manchester City, they used to win it. Well, forget all about that. This is now for Arsenal to lose. They got an 8-point lead, and this game in hand, well, you have to win your game in hand. That is point one. They have to beat Arsenal at home, Manchester City, in the end of April. That's point two. And for City this weekend, they will pray to the Lord in heaven to hope that Liverpool can help them, because they're going to Southampton. They think they will take their 3 points there. So they think that this is a weekend. I think, will they lose the title if they lose at Anfield? No. But if they win it, well, then they are all on their way to win the title, Arsenal.
Nicky, are you ready to say that Arsenal are going to win the title? And if not, why not?
I've said all along, I think I'll say they're ready to win the title when they're 4 points clear with 1 point left, with one game left. I'm not going to say that. Of course, I'm not going to. I also think, this whole sort of narrative we build up around these big games. Of course, it's true. Of course, everything Jan said about the psychology of it is important, because he's right. Arsenal have got this feeling in their heads now of it's ours to lose. I think it's impossible not to have that feeling when you've been the front runner for basically the whole season. But at the same time, let's not forget that City did win at Arsenal and then went and drew with Nottingham Forest. So actually, these 10 games from here to the end of the season, none of them are foregone conclusions. It's not just a Liverpool game that's going to decide things. It's the games against everybody. So, look, psychologically, of course, if Arsenal beat Liverpool, it's a big fillip. It's a big moment. It's, of all the games on paper, the away games they've got coming up besides City, it's the one, right? It's the one that looks most intimidating. You win this and you feel better. But I think in some ways, these are the least dangerous games, because nobody at Arsenal is unaware that they're going to Anfield and what a big stage it is. It's the little quiet games from here to the end of the season that I think could still be the ones that end up deciding everything.
And Stevie, if Liverpool win it, will it keep their top 4 hopes alive?
No.
Why not?
Well, because if they win this game,
live right now.
If they win this game, we still have no idea what they'll do the next game. That's the difference. Again, that's another difference between these two teams. We know exactly what we're going to get from Arsenal. We're going to get a team that will probably have more possession of the ball and they'll probably create more chances. I mean, that's just what Arsenal are right now. I mean, if you asked any of us who would rather play for, would you rather play for Arsenal or Man City right now? We'd all say Arsenal. In fact, if you ask the Liverpool players, who would you rather play for today? They'd probably say Arsenal as well. So this is absolutely Arsenal. I really can't see it. The only thing that worries me is the last prediction I remember Jan making was that Liverpool were going to Old Trafford and everybody said that Liverpool were going to annihilate them. And it was right at the very start of Ten Hag's run, and Jan was the only one that said Man United wins. And they did. That's the only thing that's worrying me right now. Jan's going to be right.
Are you on Sunday's show? Or are you going to be talking after on the digital show as well? Oh, great. So we're going to be able to see Stevie's immediate reaction to whatever the result is. He's a worried man again.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.